This is every single commander deck that I have either built, bought, or currently am building. And I thought that would be a good idea to try and go ahead and run through my process of how I build a commander deck in case if you want to join me. So this is how to build a commander deck. Thinking back over all the decks that I've built, I've kind of noticed that each deck has kind of gone through the same three phases in its creation, which is selection, research, and alterations. Now we're going to go through each of the phases and kind of explain what I mean by each one of them. So first up is selection. This is where you pick out your commander or the theme that you want to play. This is the type of game that you are bringing to the table. Now, are you a more aggressive, mean-spirited player, or are you a little bit more group hug friendly? This, I don't have an answer for you. This is up to you. And this is where you have complete creative freedom. There are some shortcuts that you can take in order to figure out what commander you want to use. If you don't know what colors you prefer in the Magic the Gathering world, check out this video at the end of this video, just because I run through the different philosophies of the colors in Magic, just so that way you kind of better understand the overall philosophies behind which colors are good for what principles that you might resonate with. Now in the research phase, this is where you pick out which cards go in your deck. Now there's a lot of different resources that you can use to pick out these cards. There's Google, there's your local game store, there's Reddit, which is a great resource. But the best resource that I have found has been EDH Rec. And I'll put a link in the description below in case you want to check it out. I highly recommend just clicking around on this website because honestly, there's way too much information for me to cover in this video. But if you just have a general idea of what you want your commander deck to be, this will tell you which commanders you should use and which cards you should put in your deck. But let's say I just want to have green, white, blue. Let's go, so that's a 3-color, green, white, blue. That's a Bant. It will tell you popular themes and popular tribes. So if I want to go for toughness, aura, or if I want to have bird tribal, merfolk, elves, what have you. Now, there are some general rules I like to follow to help kind of create a sense of consistency with my decks, just so that way I can kind of get a better feel for it, and it just makes things a little bit more consistent. These rules are my rules. You don't have to use them, but I do find that they generally help. Rule 1, always use at least one tutor. Every single color has its own tutor. Use them. They're there for a reason. Some people don't like tutors because it takes away from the casualness of the format. I don't care. Rule 2, always have a backup plan. Now this is a few different methods or ways. Every single type of deck or color has its own variation of threat removal, whether it be through exile, direct combat damage, or just throwing damage around just aimlessly. Every color has its own way. Use what's best for you, but take advantage of it. Threats happen and you want to be able to deal with them. Now, moving on to rule 3, you don't want to rely too heavily on your commander, so you want to have a secondary or tertiary commander. The reason for this is because some things either get countered or Drannith Magistrate exists and you might not be able to play your commander. Now, your commander should help with the overall strategy, not be the overall strategy. And I've mentioned this before in a previous video. In my Hydra Tribal deck, I have 3 different commanders in this, and in my Sliver Tribal deck, I have 6. Now, that's a little excessive and you don't need to go that far. Now, the final rule that I kind of like to follow is to playtest before you buy. You don't want to suddenly buy a $50 card and then realize it does absolutely nothing for your deck. There's a lot of online resources that you can use, or you can just kind of proxy the cards so that way you can test it out with your friends before you take it to like any sort of competition and drop a couple $1,000s on a deck that you hate. Those are some general rules to follow. Take them or leave them. That's up to you. I find that they help, and I hope that you find them interesting as well. Moving on to phase 3, alterations. Now, this is the phase where you're playing with your friends and you're having fun and you're kind of getting a better feel for the deck. With each set that comes out, you're going to want to try and be a little bit more vigilant about seeing if there's any new cards that kind of help facilitate your strategy better than old cards. Commander, in addition to being a casual format, is also a tinkerer's format, which means that you're kind of always tweaking the deck so that way it's the best possible version for you that it can be. And that is how you build a commander deck. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did like the video, please make sure to like the video and also hit the bell because that does help out the channel, and subscribe just to see more Magic the Gathering content. But if you also have any remaining questions, please drop a comment below as I enjoy hearing from y'all. But with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll learn something new in the next video.